really pleased to say that a man who used to sit alongside us in the BT Sports studios, Frank Lampard, joins us now from his home. Frank, nice to see you. Look, first of all, it's always the way we start these interviews, quite rightly. Everyone okay there, happy and healthy in the Lampard household?
Yeah, we're fine, thanks, Jake. Happy and healthy at home. Obviously, as concerned as everyone else about the outside world, but yeah, thank you. We're all good.
Good. Right, well, let's crack on then, because the Premier League are having these meetings every Friday, and the announcement came out yesterday that they are going to continue to push for a conclusion to the season. One of the things I thought was interesting from your perspective is they said they would continue to speak with clubs, with players, and with managers. I'm not sure if they've spoken to you yet, but if they do come and ask your opinion, at the moment, as things stand, what would you say?
Yeah, well, I think the release didn't say that much practically, and I get that because I think there are a lot of unknowns at the moment. And I think the things that I welcomed were the fact that player and staff safety will come first, health and safety, and the fact that they're going to have conversations with players and managers within that, because I think that hasn't really happened, to be honest. At Chelsea, obviously, I'm in contact with Bruce Buck. We go to the meetings and we speak regularly, so I'm quite aware from that side of things. I think in terms of what I would say would be the idea of the health and safety of players and staff is huge. And at the moment, the country's practiced social distancing so well. And the fact that we play this contact sport that we're all desperate to see for a form of escapism, if anything, to watch football and play football and train. How are we going to not put the players at risk within that in terms of how the next few weeks will look if we can get to a stage where that can happen? The other issue, I suppose, is when we talk about the testing that we're going to be doing, and I think we have probably about 70 or 80 staff at Cobham minimum if we're going to restart training, and we're going to test regularly, then that's fine, and I think maybe that's right. But I think when we're looking around the world, I don't know the testing numbers for NHS and care workers and people that are doing these incredible roles and incredible jobs over the last 2 months or so. I don't think it would sit well, not just with me, but with anybody, if we didn't make sure that people were getting tested who are in that front line. So I think that's important for football to take its place. And after that, we'd probably have the integrity football issues, which would be neutral venues, out of contract players, of which we have a couple of major players. So there are many conversations, I think, and I think that's very clear at the minute.
So what do you do in your role now? Because you're totally right. We've got conversations about neutral venues, conversations about playing behind closed doors. Some leagues have scrapped what they're doing. Other leagues are trying to push on. FC Köln in Germany have gone back to training and 3 players have been diagnosed as positive for coronavirus. On a practical level, as a manager in the Premier League at the moment, what can you do to get assurances, reassure your players, continue kind of doing your job to the best of your ability while you're stuck at home?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of that is trying to stay close to the players. You know, obviously not literally, but in terms of communicating a lot with them. And I've seen a couple of players, major players in the Premier League, voice some doubts or concerns. I get that because I think we all, as a nation, have doubts and concerns every time we watch the news or read an article at the minute. So those conversations, I think, I'll certainly be having amongst staff and all the players and staff that work at Cobham regularly about how they feel about the situation right now. In terms of how we've worked in the last period, the players have all been conforming to the government regulations. They've been working. We've had plans. We change the plan every week to try and vary it. And it's been quite a long time now where the players are in this situation. Some have been able to go to Cobham if they live close to our training ground and work there in probably a safer environment, of course, on their own. And it's all they all get their own slots, so they don't see anybody else. And we've just gone. I think most clubs are doing similar work. You know, I think we're pretty open, and I think this has been a leveler for all of football. And I speak with other managers and players and the conversations, and everybody's been in the same boat. And we've just been trying to do the right thing and the best thing in terms of keeping the players fit.
And then you've also got, you know, players at sort of different levels in terms of fitness or injuries. I know, like, for example, N'Golo Kante has missed an awful lot of the season with injuries and little bits and pieces. And you have to kind of keep your eye on those individuals as well as looking at the bigger picture, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And we had quite a few of those going into when we finished playing recently. So I think N'Golo Kante is a great example because he obviously has played 4 or 5 incredible seasons in success in terms of his success and his individual, and he's been used quite rightly so by his managers a lot. And this season I think he's played about 40% of our games. Even then, it's been difficult for him, and I've really felt for him. I've really felt for him on an individual level. So he's been a huge miss for us. Looking forward, and whenever a restart comes, we want to get him in his best shape. We want to get Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who's missed the whole season, in their best shape. So we've had slightly different plans for them. But they have been scuppered with what we've had to do recently, because health comes first. The mental well-being of the players. When we first went into self-isolation, it was kind of tough because nobody understood what it was about. But recently, we're just trying to get those players that had extra problems a bit fitter. And of course, if and when we get a chance to get back to full training, of course, then we can hopefully get them to where we want to be. And we obviously need N'Golo Kante in our team, one of the best players in the world. I knew that before becoming manager at Chelsea. I know that from working with him. We unfortunately haven't been able to have him much this year, but going forward, of course, we want him fit and raring to go.
Brilliant. And of course, while your mind is on what happens when the football resumes, I have to say, like a lot of Premier League clubs, Chelsea have done some amazing stuff to support the community. It's been wonderful to see, actually, how football has responded in many ways to this virus. You know, things like making sure that Stamford Bridge is available to people, reaching out, sending out food parcels. It's been special, that, actually.
Yeah, I agree, Jake. And I'm really proud of Chelsea's reaction, and it comes from the owner, I have to say that, and then it filters through the club to lots of people that are making gestures. Obviously, the hotel being used as for NHS workers very early on in this was a brilliant move, and from then on, there's been lots of work with our foundation within the club, lots of donations, lots of link up to charities, individual players, people doing really sort of selfless things for people around at the club. And I think, as you say, that's gone through football. You know, there's been a few things that you would question, but I think it's what's been shown is, again, the level of what this has given us in terms of society. And I think football, to the most part, and I think certainly we should be proud that we have stood up.
Very much so. Listen, we were thinking about a little football clip we could show you to put a smile on your face and a smile on the face of the Chelsea fans who are tuning in for this interview. We went with a few goals from 15 years ago when you helped secure the Premier League title for Chelsea. I was thinking this is in some ways the first break you've had. You went straight from playing to being with us to management. Having had a break, I wonder whether you kind of have taken a chance just to reflect on all the great things you did achieve in your football career the last little while.
Well, I'd count the year with you as a bit of a break in certain ways, but definitely from full-time playing. But that easy life that you have there. But no, I think in all seriousness, yeah, it's true. You know, as a player, I love playing. I didn't really want to off-season. I just wanted to train. I wanted to play all the time. It went on for a long time, and then obviously I got back into management. And yeah, if there is one thing that probably great memories there, obviously, but if there's one thing that this lockdown has given me in a way, is time to spend more time at home with the family. And I think that's obviously a side blessing of all this for some of us, but also to have a bit of reflection, thinking about, you know, how this year's gone, career things, and how we might look forward going forward. So yeah, it's nice to see that 15 years ago since that Jose Mourinho, a fantastic squad, and we won the league after 50 years. So special moments at Chelsea there.
Yeah, probably feels like about 15 minutes ago, I guess. Listen, thank you so much for joining us, Frank. You know, reading between the lines of what you said, I think the message from you is kind of treat us as football clubs, football players and football managers as adults in this period. Explain to us what you want to do, why you want to do it, and give us the assurances so that we can make educated adult decisions on the best thing for us, our clubs and our families, right?
Yeah, I think you nailed it there, Jay. I think I'm very aware, and I think we're all aware of the nation's desire, everybody's desire in this to get football back on because of what it means. And as I said before at the beginning, the escapism and how we love our football. And I'm also very aware of the obstacles, the many obstacles that people will have to go through. So I'm certainly not pointing fingers. I think we're all working in the same direction here, that we want it back. But of course, health and safety comes first. The release yesterday said that now all the steps to try and get that in place is what will be the important thing, because we cannot risk that the health of players and staff who are working in football. We can't, and we have to. The amazing work that the NHS has been doing, and care workers and people now that have become the heroes, and they are the modern day heroes. Footballers don't really proclaim to be the heroes, but you know, I think this has certainly made us realise that the people on the front line are our real heroes. So we have that to put in perspective, and then we'll see where football goes.
Good man. Take care of yourself. Thank you very much for joining us, Frank. Really appreciate it.
Nice speaking to you. Thank you.